Hi guys, welcome to the Monday edition of Facebook Live Online Recovery Support Group. My name is Kelly Kirk and I'm in Richmond County, North Carolina. I'm a certified peer support specialist. And this is our, like I said, Monday edition of Facebook Live. So let me read our introduction really quick and get it out of the way. So welcome to the Facebook Live Online Recovery Support Group supported by the Sandhills Opioid Response Consortium. This is a forum where people in recovery can come together. We are here to encourage and support individuals in their recovery journey by sharing our own experience, strength, and hope. Our meetings consist of daily readings, meditations, devotionals, and open discussions. We only ask that when sharing, you adhere to the rules and guidelines of this page. All recovery paths are welcome, and please feel free to share in the comments box, and I will address anything that you have to say. So today I thought I would mix it up a little bit and talk about the importance of having good credit. A lot of people in recovery are trying to get their lives back on the right track, and one of the most important things you can do for yourself is to fix your credit and, build it into good credit. And I know for me, when I was in active addiction, my life was a mess, and I didn't have the focus or the wherewithal a lot of times to really see the importance of some bigger issues in my life, which credit was one of them. I wasn't at all focused on those big factors that can really have a big impact on your life. And, once I was in recovery for a while and was finally able to live each day without having to, be obsessed with drugs all the time, I could see my life clearly for the first time. And I quickly realized that a lot of stuff needed fixing, and my credit was one of them. So I basically made a list of everything I could think of that I needed to do or that I should do now that I was starting my life over. And one of those things was, like I said, to clean up my credit. And having good credit is so important to having a quality life in this day and age. Having good credit opens the doors for opportunities that people that have bad credit don't really have. They check your credit for everything these days. When someone has good credit, it says, this person is responsible, this person is reliable, this person is trustworthy, and basically has their life together. And they check your credit when you're applying for a job now, because they think it will tell them what kind of person you are. Does this person manage their affairs effectively? Are they responsible? Are they on top of their life? And if your credit's not good, they may not want to hire you, and they may not call you back for that second interview, because if you've got, on your credit, all these credit cards that you ran up and then you couldn't pay them, that looks bad on you, so that's something that you want to fix. And, if you're planning on buying a car or renting a house or buying a house, all those things require good credit, at least good, credit. And if you try to get a car without good credit, they're going to charge you a much higher interest rate. And you're not going to get as good of a deal as you would get if you had the good credit. So having good credit is super important. And of course, life happens, especially to people in addiction. Life happens really hard. And a lot of times, we'll get a credit card and we'll have every intention of paying it. But you might lose your job, or you might relapse and end up spending that money on drugs. And then, pretty soon that snowballs and you've got all these bad marks on your credit, and you just forget it. I'm not even going to try. And then your credit is bad. It's ruined. And I see I see it all the time. My clients, they have to pay cash for everything. They have to go get money orders because they can't have a checking account because of their credit. And they have to pay like huge deposits for everything because people are looking at their credit and saying, I can't trust this person. So it makes your life a lot harder if you have not so good credit. So like once I started getting my life together, one of the things I did was to fix my credit. And I was able to do a lot of that fixing on my own. And now there are a ton of companies out there that will offer to fix your credit, but it's going to cost you. And a lot of the times you can do a lot of that on your own. And the first thing you need to understand is your rights and the laws that are surrounding credit and how it's reported. And a good way to get, some common knowledge about that is to go and look up the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And, it's pretty like layman's terms, and it's a good way to kind of get a good understanding about what is credit, what are your rights as a citizen, because you've got these huge credit bureaus. Like, what are my rights? What do I have the right to do and not do? So I pulled the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and I'm just going to go over the main points. So the first one is, you must be told if information in your file has been used against you. You have the right to know what is in your file. You have the right to ask for a credit score. You have the right to dispute incomplete or inaccurate information. Consumer reporting agencies must correct or delete inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable information. Consumer reporting agencies may not report outdated negative information. Access to your credit file is limited. You must give your consent for reports to be provided to employers. You may limit pre-screened offers of credit and insurance you get based on information in your credit file. And you have the right to place a security freeze on your credit report, which will prohibit a consumer reporting agency from releasing information without your express authorization. And the main takeaways, if you're going to try to repair your own credit, is a couple of these. And that is that consumer reporting agencies must correct or delete anything that's inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable. So, after I read that, I did some research, and the basic things, there's people out there that don't really know much about credit. So, most things are going to stay on your credit for 7 years. Like things like bankruptcy, that's going to stay on there for 10 years, which means if you get a credit card and you charge it up and you can't pay it and you just like ignore them and ignore their letters and everything, they're going to put it on your credit. And it's going to be on there for 7 years. And after 7 years, it'll drop off. So you got to remember, you've always got that 7-year rolling time thing there. But there's 3 main credit reporting agencies in the United States that credit cards and banks report your information to. And those are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Those are the 3 big guns, okay? They'll all 3 have information on you, but they may not have the same exact information as each other, because like some banks may report to Equifax but not Experian, and then maybe your car company is going to report to TransUnion but not Equifax or Experian. So they're all going to have some information about you. They may have all of it, but they may not, and their 3 reports may look a little differently. So what you want to do, and this is another thing you should know, you're entitled to 1 absolutely free credit report every year. And the way to get it is to go to annualcreditreport.com. and that site will take you from one credit bureau to the other. Like, don't log out, because once you're out of it, you got to wait a whole other year to access it again. Let it keep going back to that site, and they'll jump you from one site to the other. But what you want to do is print out all your credit reports. And the main thing that you want to remember is, once you sit down and get looking at your credit reports, is that you have the right to dispute anything and everything on your report. And the credit bureaus have 30 days from the day you dispute something to prove you wrong. So the onus is on them. The responsibility is on them. You don't have to prove that that's not yours. They have to prove that it is yours. And that's the key when you're trying to clean up your credit. So each item on your credit report will have certain information. Each one is going to have the name of the creditor, the amount that they say you owe, the day that they say you paid last, and the date that you opened that account. So any of these things could be wrong, right? And if any one of those things is incorrect, they have to take it off. Delete it. They have to delete it. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can't correct the information. If the information's wrong, they have to delete it. And that's how you can clean up a lot of your credit. If you find incorrect information on there, send them a letter. They have to delete it if they can't prove it within that 30 days. If it takes them 31 days, oh well, they have to delete it. So, like, and you can seize on any one thing. You can put that, you know, dear TransUnion, item such and such on my credit report says that I opened that account in April of 2018. I didn't open that account in 2018. Please remove it from my credit report. Thank you. Sign it. Mail it to them. And you want to do that for each thing on there that you want to challenge. And if they send you back a letter saying that they verified it, you can send another letter disputing a different piece of information. Now you can say, well, that amount isn't right. You know, I don't think that amount is right. You know, or I don't think that that's the amount I paid you last. You can challenge any piece of information on any item in your credit report. And if the credit bureau cannot prove that they have the correct information within 30 days, they have to delete it. And when I sat down, it took me about 6 months of writing letters to all 3 bureaus. And when they would deny me, I'd write them another letter. And I cannot tell you how great it felt to get letters back from them saying, deleted, 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 deleted. They deleted almost everything off my credit report. And I didn't have to pay anybody to do it. All you got to do is make sure that you understand your rights in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And you can clean up your own credit. Now, I mean, there'll be some things on there that, you know, are going to have to stay with you because, you know, they proved you right. But you can get, if you haven't looked at your credit in a long time and you haven't really sat down and looked at the information that they have on file for you, there's probably a lot of stuff on there that can come off. And so what you want to do, like I said, is write a letter. Keep it short and sweet. Tell them they have the wrong information. Point out what information is wrong or that you think is wrong. And if they can't prove you right, in 30 days, it has to come off. They have to delete it. And they can't put it back on there. You know, you also want to watch for, let's say I had an account with Capital One. And I had a $1,000 credit limit. And I charged up my whole $1,000 and like I only made 2 payments and then I couldn't pay them anymore, so I let it go. What they'll do after a certain period of time is they will sell that account to a collection agency. And I'm sure you'll know about it because they send letters and call you like crazy. But what happens is that new collection agency will report on your credit report. So now you've got Capital One reporting the account and you've got a collection agency reporting the account. That's double. They can't do that. Write a letter and ask them to remove it and check that information. If the date you opened it, the amount they're saying, or the credit limit's wrong, or the date you paid last is wrong, and they can't prove it within 30 days. And imagine how many letters they get at these 3 credit bureaus dealing with everybody in this country. They have 30 days. Most of the time, in my experience, for me, they had to delete stuff. So that's basically what it boils down to. Exercise your rights. You know, there's no reason why you can't make a project out of cleaning up your credit. It will improve your life. You'll be able to get loans. You'll be able to start building your credit back. And that's the second part of what I want to talk about, which is building up your credit. So once you get your credit straightened out and get off as many things as you can, the next thing you want to do is start building your credit. And the easiest way to do that is to apply for a secured credit card. And what that means is you give them $100. They send you a credit card with a $200 or $300 credit limit. Yeah, you had to pay that $100, but after a year, if you've made your payments on time, they'll give you back that $100. So don't even worry about that. What you want to do is start establishing some good credit history. So the other thing you want to remember is don't go over 30%. If I have a $100 credit limit, don't spend more than $30 ever on that card. Keep it under 30% because that affects your score. And make your payments on time every month. And pretty soon, you know, you'll start getting offers for other stuff, you know, and you'll see that you're laying down some credit history on your credit reports. And that's what they want to see. They want to see payments on time. They want to see that you have available money, but you're not spending it all, because then that makes you look responsible. So, yeah, the worst thing you can do is start going crazy on your new credit card and buying stuff that you really can't afford. Set your mind that you're not going to use that card. Or like what I did was, like, I said, all right, I'm gonna put gas in my car on this card, and then I'm gonna pay it off every payday. And I forgot all about the card except for when it was time for gas, you know. So that's what you want to do to start building credit. And pretty soon it'll start paying off, and you can apply for a second card, and they'll look at your credit and they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, this person's good, they're paying. You know, they're paying on time, they're responsible. And slowly you can start building your credit. And before you know it, you know, if you want to go apply for a loan for a car, your interest rate's going to be lower than it would have been because you've got some good credit on there. And it does take time. But I look at credit like, you know, now that we're adults, credit is like your report card for being an adult. You know, it literally is. Having credit is so important because that's like your report card, adult report card. So, let's see. So okay, so there's a difference between your credit report and credit score. Your credit score is where they look at different aspects of your credit and they grade it. And so the credit scores go from anywhere from like 500 being the worst, like poor credit, to 850, which is like the best you can get credit. And I highly recommend that you log into sign up for an account with Credit Karma. It's free, and you can keep track of your credit. They have all kind of cool graphics and stuff, and they'll send you alerts if your score changes, and you can go on there and click on see what's changed, and you can kind of track all your credit, and you can just like download the app and watch your credit go back up, you know, slowly. So, but anyway, the credit score, what they do is they assess your credit health by breaking different factors of your credit report into points. So if you have delinquent accounts on your report, that brings your credit score down. If you have strong on-time payment history, it brings your score up. Most lenders only look at your credit score. They don't look at your credit report. And so if you're doing good on your credit report, your credit score is going to reflect that. But so here are the factors that they look at to come up with your credit score. The first one is payment history. That accounts for about 35% of your credit score. If you're making your payments on time and you don't have any late fees, That's going to account for 35% of your credit score. And remember, you want to keep your usage like at 30% or below on your credit cards. Average age of credit account. That's a big deal too. That's like 15% of your credit score. More than 10 years is considered excellent. So even if you're not using your first credit card from college anymore, you may want to keep it open to help increase the overall average age. Account types. So if you've got some revolving credit cards and some installment loans, that your mix there accounts for about 10%. Inquiries is another one. You don't want to be going and applying for all these credit cards at one time, because, and always ask when someone asks you about your credit, are you going to touch my credit? Are you going to touch my credit report? Because there's like a soft hit and a hard hit. Soft hit is not going to count as your inquiries. But if they hit your credit score will go down immediately a little bit. And it takes a while for that to come off. So just be careful about who you let check your credit, because it will affect your score. So, let me just go over real quick 10 things you must know about credit. Credit isn't cash or a cash substitute. Credit and credit cards are easy to use. Lord, I know that. It's hard not to think of them as an extension of your wallet. Unfortunately, being careless with your credit usage can lead to trouble. Having good credit is important. I think we all know that. Businesses who extend services to you before you pay for them have a valid reason to check your credit. Okay. Good credit doesn't happen overnight, and this is true. But the sooner you start working on it, the sooner it's going to go up. And, you know, it's so important because you have access to so many more things if you have decent credit, you know. Not all credit cards are created equally. That's true. You want to make sure if you start, you know, once you start building your credit up, you're going to get like a barrage of credit applications in the mail. You know, you're going to get Discover Card, a Capital One, a Credit One, and all this stuff. You want to make sure you open that up and look at the interest rate they're going to charge you. Some of them charge like 25% interest, which is outrageous. You know, and when you're doing that first credit card just to prove that you can make payments, just it's probably going to be a high interest rate. But once you start getting your credit score back up, you need to start looking for lower interest rates, 19.95%. And what you can do also, what I did was, once I had several credit cards and I felt like I was doing good, I called them each and I was like, look, I don't really need this card. Like, I'm not really using this card. And you're charging me like $7 a month to have this card, and you're charging me like 23% interest. I'm like, you know what? Just close it out. As soon as they hear you say that, they're like, oh, no, let's see what we can do. They'll lower your interest rate. They'll waive the fees. They'll do anything to get you to keep that credit card open. So you've got some leverage once you've had that account open for a while and you've been paying on time. Things will start to change. Let's see what else. Creditors share information about you. We know that, and they do. They report every single month. And you know, if you miss a payment and you're like, oh my God, I'm late, you can call them. And if this is your like first time being late, you can be like, look, I've never been late before. You know, is there any way that you can just reverse this late fee? It won't happen again. And please don't report it to my credit account, my credit score. You know, and a lot of times they'll waive it. But you got to call there and you got to go through the freaking automated thing and all that to get a real person. But it's worth it. You can ask for lower interest rates. I already said that. Having too many credit cards is possible. It says it doesn't take long to build a collection of credit cards. As soon as you got one credit card, it seems every other creditor wants you to offer theirs too. Having too many credit cards can affect your credit score and make it hard to keep up with your credit card payments. That's true. Closing credit cards can hurt your credit. That's true. If you have credit cards and you're in good standing, just let them stay open. Like, you know, buy a Coke at the store with it or something. Pay it back. Just keep it there, because you never know when you might have an emergency and you need that credit. Or if you close it and it's closed off, then it's not going to be counted as a good thing that you're being responsible with your credit. So, yeah, and I just think it's so important, especially for people in recovery. A lot of us, we just let our credit go, and once you start getting your life in order, and what I consider it now is like, my addiction is a disease, right? I'm in recovery right now. I consider it to be in remission. It could come back at any time, but right now I'm in remission. And so I'm going to do everything I can to try to set myself up for success. And a lot of my clients, I've helped them with this, and some of my friends. And it's a big deal when you start getting your credit cleaned up and you get those things from them saying deleted, deleted, deleted. All these bad things that have been haunting you and hanging on your neck for years are gone, and it's a great feeling. So I wanted to talk about that today. But if anybody has any questions about that, I'm not like a credit professional. I just learned all this stuff on my own through trial and error. So, but anybody have questions, you can just message me, and y'all have an awesome day.